So I was originally not planning on making a Kpop Demon Hunters video, as most of the internet has already done that and has said everything I want to say about it. But then I saw Dumb Live's video on the new Riot AI-generated cinematic and how bad it was, and I have some thoughts. And while they've long since pulled the video and made a public non-apology, so this video will be very old news by the time I finish it, I'm still going to talk about it, because I think this shit-ass cinematic is a perfect embodiment of everything that pisses me off about generative AI. Even if you ignore the issues with the energy and water required to make it work, or turn a blind eye to the fact that it's just robots doing plagiarism, there is still one major issue with generative AI. It looks and sounds like fucking garbage. So for anyone who's not aware, Riot Games released a promotional video on Chinese social media made entirely of AI-generated video and audio, and it sucks. The art style between all the characters is inconsistent, the movements are painfully robotic, and the music is so fucking bad. And the characters in it have no personality at all. Jinx especially is so stiff and lifeless in how she moves, you could honestly switch her out for any other LOL character and would feel exactly the same. None of her chaotic energy is shown here. There's this awful moment where the in-universe pop singer Seraphine sings a solo high note in an obvious attempt to recreate the dark meets the light moment in how it's done. The only problem is the vocalist for Rumi has, actual talent and is not a computer trying to replicate vocal performances, so it just sounds like Seraphine is screeching into the microphone. Apologies in advance for ruining your eardrums.
On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Breathe! No scream! We are the champions tonight!
And that's just one example among many I could make here. They were really shameless about copying Sony's style for this. Trying to recreate the idea of having a battle in the middle of a concert, which in a vacuum would not be the worst thing for a LOL promotion. A lot of their stuff has been action music videos, but they were clearly just trying to ride the K-pop hype train. Instead, they just demonstrated why a project like Demon Hunters works and AI-generated crap doesn't. There is no true substitute for human creativity and skill. AI cannot innovate or think outside the box. It can't push boundaries of storytelling, animation, or music. And while the story of Demon Hunters isn't really that original, at least right now, this is very much an origin story, it's still a fun human story with relatable characters that you won't get from a robot filing the serial numbers off pre-existing work. And it's clear from all the hate this promotion has been getting that a lot of people, even LOL fans, agree. I actually went back to some of their older cinematics, and almost all of them had some comments talking shit about the AI video. So, well, yes, this is a cinematic, not a movie, so you can't expect it to be that deep. The older cinematics are actually a great example of how to give characters personality through body language, expressions, and movement. Which is why I find this choice to be so confusing, because the old style of cinematics was already really popular. Hell, I've watched most of them and I don't even play League. I'm just a sucker for good animation. And you can't even make the argument that making promo work from scratch isn't a good investment, because almost all of these cinematics have a crazy amount of views. Their biggest one is at almost 640 million views, and they have one from less than 8 months ago that has more views than Demon Hunter's biggest song, at least on YouTube. So it's not like they needed to save money on marketing. Well, yes, I am referring to the English-speaking marketing team, but whether or not this was made in a studio in China, they clearly can afford to make decent cinematics. But that would require keeping some of their staff instead of laying them all off, so maybe we should not be too surprised they took this route. They also clearly didn't seem to understand that Demon Hunters blew up as much as it did because it was made with love and passion, not just because the idea of ass-kicking pop stars is fun. Fucking LOL already does that themselves. Yes, the music and premise are a huge part of it, but a lot of the reviews I've seen also mention the animation quality, the great action choreography, and the relatable, lovable cast, as well as how it shows Disney how to make quirky girl characters without it feeling played out or cringe in a bad way. It also helped that they had a cast of goofy girl protagonists, not just one. It made them feel more like real people who are comfortable enough with each other to be silly and honest. Not just another Rapunzel or Anna ripoff. And as usual, studios and corporations learned the wrong lesson when something actually good managed to make money. and I doubt Riot will learn any lessons here. So I'm glad to see how pissed LOL fans were at this. Y'all deserve better. Then again, they do have some cartoonishly overpriced DLC, so maybe this shit is to be expected. They really seem to be giving EA a run for their money for most anti-consumer studio. Whew, okay, that video ended up being more complaining about Riot than praising Kpop Demon Hunters, and I was hoping to keep this channel positive, but I really wanted to vent about how awful that poor excuse of a cinematic was. If you enjoyed me yapping, please keep an eye out for my other videos. I actually have 3 other scripts that are way longer that I already finished before this whole thing happened, so this will probably be the first video I actually finish and upload. But I have 2 that I'm in the process of editing, and one video I'm working on getting game footage for, so keep an eye out. I'm Nora, and thank you for watching.